Perez, and this is Straight Talk, no sugar added. Thank you so much for being here. This show is created to discuss life topics, to challenge and transform your thinking. Today, I have Aaron Golub here, and I am super excited. He became the first legally blind athlete to play football in a Division I game, where he was at Tulane University, and he was the captain of his senior year and went to become a NFL free agent. So Aaron delivers inspiring and actionable keynotes to drive breakthrough performance through change and challenge. The objective is to help make lasting and meaningful positive change across the teams and organizations. So, Aaron, I want to thank you first off. I know that you are a busy, busy dude. So, I want to thank you very much for being here with us here at Straight Talk. And the way I always start is just because I give a really small bio, I would like you to just introduce yourself so that people get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah, thank you, Nina, first off, for having me. I really appreciate it. Like you said, I became the first legally blind Division I athlete to play in a game when I played football at Tulane University. Was named the team captain, went on to become an NFL free agent. Now I'm an entrepreneur, speaker, uh, podcast host, do a bunch of stuff, and it's all a lot of fun. Excited to be here with you.
Wow, so you didn't take any breaks is basically what you're saying, right? You went from being a legally blind football player to like everything. So I wanted to talk to you about being legally blind. I know you probably get a lot of these questions. So um, were you diagnosed legally blind as a child, or was it something you, as you were growing up, that it started to happen to you? How did this come about?
Yeah, so I was born legally blind. I have no vision
Okay.
in my right eye at all, and very limited in my left.
Oh, okay. Was that always so to you, that's kind of a norm then,
Hmm.
right?
Yep,
Yeah. Did
absolutely.
it get progressively worse as you got older, or was it always this way?
No, it's always been about pretty much the same. Hasn't really fluctuated too much, but like I said, I've never known anything different. So for me, it
Right.
hasn't been something that I've had to adapt to, I guess, in that sense.
So I of course this has probably been asked to you before, but so how did you go from, oh, I'm legally blind to I want to play football? Right? Because those two things don't seem to go hand in hand, right? That this is speaking volumes about you as a person,
Yeah,
actually, and to me, because it's showing me that you are a person that's going to overcome challenges and have a lot of grit. At least that's how I'm feeling about that. So tell me about that journey a little bit, if you don't mind, like growing up and not letting that become a hindrance, but then using that to overcome and become a football player. How did that happen?
yeah. I mean, growing up, I was never the most athletic kid. I, tried playing a lot of sports, and nothing was really sticking with me. And I always loved football, and I figured why not give it a shot. So I started playing in seventh grade. Obviously, couldn't be a quarterback or a wide receiver or something, but started off as a lineman. Hit the person in front of you. Fairly simple at that age. It's about learning the game, and that's what it was, and that was fine. And as I got older, it was pretty evident that I wasn't great. I was undersized. It wasn't the right position for me. And if I wanted to play in college, I had to figure out the best way to do that. And that's when I found long snapping, and I kind of made a decision. I said, if I got good enough at this, then I might have an opportunity. And, from there, it was just doing the work that no one else would and outworking everyone else.
Can I ask you to like break that down a little bit for me? I'm a little bit of a layman when it comes to football. What's long snapping? Is that what you said?
Yeah. So
What's that?
on punts and field goals, I'm the person who throws it under their legs back to the punter or the holder, and then I have to block the person in front of me.
Oh, okay. So a little job. Got it. How did you land that? That means wow. Okay. So you have to get up every day, I'm assuming, before everyone else to make this happen, right? Because everyone else kind of doesn't have the limitation that you have, or what we would call a limitation, right? So how did you do that?
Yeah. So to me, I mean, it was really just I had to work 10 times harder than everyone else to be
Right.
successful. And so, you know, for me, it was I would get up at 5 a.m. every day. I'd go practice long snapping. I'd go to school. I'd go to practice. I'd lift weights every day after practice. And that was my schedule,
Wow.
for several years because I knew what I had to do to be successful. And, you know, doing that work in the morning when no one else was around and no one else knew I was there was really important to lead to my success.
Was that something that was always in you though, working that hard? Is that something that you just is in you, or does that something you just decided one day you had to start developing so that you can make stuff happen?
I mean, as a kid, I don't think I was ever in that situation where it was like, I need to work really hard to accomplish this goal. But I think
Mm-hmm,
when the
mm-hmm.
goal presented itself, it made me realize how badly I wanted it. And if I wanted it, then I had to, work hard to succeed. And it's the same thing, today as an entrepreneur, as a speaker, as, everything I do in finance, yeah, everything I have going on, it's, work extremely hard, do what everyone won't do if you want to be successful.
Let me ask you, how did you not allow you being a blind football player make you a victim? Like how did you overcome being a victim? And what I mean by that is that a lot of times people can take their hindrances and things that they've been through in life, right, and use that as an excuse to not move forward. Now you have done the opposite of that. And I'm sure that you have had many opportunities, or people probably around you have given you excuses or could have given you excuses for you to kind of just be, a victim of your circumstances. Did my question make sense?
Yeah, no, I think it's just understanding that you can do anything that you want if you are, the
That's
hardest
good.
working person in the room. If you don't listen to others' opinions,
Good.
trust yourself. If you believe you can do something, then do that. Don't listen to everyone else's opinions.
How did you how were you discovered? Is this something that you went to play football and everybody started talking about it? Or did something happen in a game or something that kind of highlighted you? How did that come about?
Yeah, I went to a lot of camps around the country to get nationally ranked, to get exposure, and so that was a big
Got
part
it.
of it. But then it was a lot of outreach for me. I was contacting pretty much every Division I school in the country and doing whatever I could to get noticed.
Oh wow, okay. So yeah, you were going after it. Good for you. Good for you. So what do you want to what made you go from that then to shifting over to what you're doing now? Because you just mentioned you're an entrepreneur, you're a speaker, you do finance, right? So you're doing quite a bit of things. How did you make that shift from, this is who I am, right? Because this is another thing I think that can happen to a lot of us, right? Especially if we get a lot of like notoriety, you can kind of just stay in that one lane. But you sound to me like you shifted there a little bit. Was that college that helped you shift your mindset, or how did you start pursuing finance and all of that?
I mean, it was something that I was interested in doing, and it was
Okay.
something I wanted to do after football, anyways. And the opportunity just didn't end up presenting itself to play in the NFL, and there was other opportunities on the table, and I took them, and I'm very thankful that I did. And in addition to that, with the speaking side, I had a lot of experience of interviews and things like that through college and high school, and it just seemed to work well, and I started doing that too, and it's been a lot of fun. Building both of those two things up. Definitely a lot of work, very
Mm-hmm.
challenging. Um,
I'm
and
sure.
I'm very busy, but I love everything I do, and it's very gratifying.
That's great. What do you speak about when you get hired as a motivational speaker?
Yeah, I mean, overcoming obstacles, figuring out your disadvantage and making it your advantage, how you can accomplish anything that you want. I think that,
Mm-hmm.
I talk about how I was able to take being legally blind, it's, to most people a disadvantage, and how I was able to make it my advantage.
Right.
And, that's something that I talk about and show others how to do.
Yeah. So you're probably the kind of guy that people don't want to go to with a lot of excuses, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You probably don't let them get away with too much of the excuse thing. So,
Absolutely.
so what do you have like a routine or something that you do to motivate yourself? Because I'm sure that, like you said, you work a lot, right? And that can
Mhm.
become exhausting. So what do you do to motivate yourself, to get yourself going every day?
You know, I think when it comes to motivation, a lot of people look at it the wrong way. Everyone looks for that external motivation, that thing that
Mm,
can make them want to keep going. And, yes, external motivation can help in some instances. If you're trying about to go on a sales call, or you're going to lift a heavy weight at the gym, or whatever it is, external motivation is great to help you for that instance. But
right.
external motivation isn't long lasting. It's not going to help you in the long term. And so, if you want to achieve something, you have to have that internal drive and fire and motivation. And
Mm,
that's what I have. It's not to prove anyone else wrong. It's not to show others that I can do it. It's that, you know, I want to show myself that I can accomplish these goals. I genuinely don't care what other people think. And because of that, their opinions don't really matter to me if they think I
That's
can or can't
good.
do
That's
something.
so
I care
good.
about proving myself right and accomplishing the goals that I want to accomplish. What someone else thinks of my goals or my dreams or what I want to do, that doesn't affect me.
That's so good. So, Aaron, do you think that that is something that can be taught, or do you think that's something that is innate, that is already in us? What do you think of that?
I think it definitely can be taught. It's
Oh,
definitely
okay.
hard to learn it. Um, I think that it's about finding the right thing. It's about
Hmm.
finding what you are truly motivated at. If you're at a 9 to 5 job and you hate your life and you're miserable, you're never going to have the motivation to get better at that job. But
That's so
maybe
good.
it's a different 9 to 5 job that you would like, or maybe it's building your own business. But once you find that thing, you'll probably have that internal motivation.
Do you coach people as well, or do you just do the motivational speaking and in big
No,
term?
I
No.
I mean, maybe in the future, but it's not something, between speaking and finance are my things. Haven't had an interest or a desire
Yeah.
to do coaching at the moment.
Or time probably, right? One-on-one takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
Is your family super supportive on everything that you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. No, my family has always, helped me accomplish my goals, do whatever they could to support me, and I've been very thankful because of that.
That's great. Are you like here in the States, or do you live outside of the States?
Yeah, so I'm in Boston,
Are you in
Massachusetts.
Boston? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So you're on the East Coast like us. That's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, weather's been kind of funky around here. I
Yeah,
don't know if it's
absolutely.
raining over there, but it's pouring in Connecticut.
Yeah.
So, what do you want to do moving forward, Aaron? Because you've accomplished quite a bit. I mean, you have an amazing story. You really do. You're very inspirational. I was reading your bio. It was inspiring me just sitting here because I am someone who have gone through quite a bit in my life, and for a while in my life, I let a lot of things be hindrances.
Mhm.
And I'm looking at your story, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like really people cannot have any excuses around you. So I would like you to be my friend. So when I have an
Yeah.
excuse, Aaron can let me straighten me right out. What do you want to do with yourself, moving forward in the future? Like, do
Yeah.
you
I
have
mean,
ideas?
first off, thank you. I mean, you
Yeah.
know, you saying that I've accomplished a lot, I mean, it means a lot. I don't necessarily consider it a lot. I don't necessarily consider it what I want to be known for. In 10 years, I
Mm,
don't want to be known as the first legally blind Division
I
One
hear
athlete
that.
playing a
I
game.
hear that.
I have no interest in being known for that. That's my past. It's not my future.
Right.
In 5, 10 years from
Oh,
now, I
that's
want to
good.
be one of the top people in finance in the country. I want to be one of the top speakers in the country. Those are the things I'm striving for. I want to be extremely well known for those two things. When someone Googles my name or says my name, they think, this incredible businessman in finance, this
Hmm.
incredible speaker. They don't, I mean, they can find out about the football part, but that's not the main thing that I'm known for in the future.
I am so glad you said that, Aaron, because I was going to ask you that question. Like, are you done with talking about your football past? I say that for a reason. I think that sometimes we're in danger of getting stuck in people's
Mhm.
minds, right? As to who we were.
Yep.
And I was just thinking that I'm so glad you touched on that. I was reading your story and thinking that same thing to myself. Like, is Aaron already getting past this, right? Like we need to move where you're moving, right? And when we hear your story, it has to be about what you're inspiring us to move forward
Yep.
to, not where we came from. I'm so glad you said that. That's so great. And I'm really grateful for you and what you say and your words and how you express yourself. And I really think you're going to accomplish it anyway. I think that that's exactly what we're going to talk about. Hopefully one day I'll have you back on the show and we'll be talking about, how you motivated people to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with your football past, although I will say it's extremely inspiring.
No,
Um,
thank you. I mean, like
and
it's definitely a part of my life and a part of my resume, and it will always be that. But
mhm,
I think that the most successful entrepreneurs, they have accomplished a lot in their life, but
mhm,
you probably don't remember half of it because you only know what they most recently did. And
right.
that's what my goal is for the future.
Yeah, and that's a phenomenal goal. And I'll tell you something because I'm not a football person. I don't really follow sports. When I was reading your story, I wasn't reading it about football. right? I mean, to me, it was literally about grit, and it
Yeah.
was literally about like somebody overcoming no matter what.
Yeah.
And you don't take no crap. That's what it felt like to me as I was reading your bio. So I was like, football, I mean, to me, in other words, your story to me, football is the second, like the secondary part, right? It's you as an individual that was inspiring me more than anything.
Thank you.
So I'm very proud of you. I think you're doing a
Appreciate
phenomenal
that.
job. Yeah, very, very phenomenal job. And I'm super grateful for you have taken, time to be here. And I wanted to touch a little bit, if you can, before you go on your podcast, because I believe you have a podcast, right? So
Yeah.
I want to follow it, and I want my viewers and stuff to follow it as well. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So it's called Blind Ambition. And, I started
That's an
it.
excellent name.
Appreciate that. I started it back in, I think, June or July. And it was really because when COVID hit, I was doing a lot more virtual events and virtual,
Mm-hmm.
going on podcasts and focusing on that to get my name out there more. And, at first it started off being like, let's start this to share other people's stories of overcoming obstacles. And then it quickly turned into like, let's just use it as a networking tool. I mean, yes, if I can share other stories of overcoming obstacles, that's great. But it's really become a tremendous networking tool of a way to get, people on and have conversations with them and build a relationship with them that I otherwise wouldn't have been able to. I've been able to connect with some people that, are extremely successful in whatever field they're in. And,
Mm-hmm.
they just, I was able to bring them on because of the platform I've been able to build and, continue to build relationships with them because you never know what will lead to that personally or business
Absolutely.
wise down the road. And that's what I see it as. It's a great networking tool.
Yeah, I agree with you. I did the same. I started the podcast for the same exact reasons. And now I have you on here, right? So this is exactly what it's about, not just telling stories, but also for me, it's showing people that you can overcome things, right? And that people that I speak to, like you, have overcome obstacles and are showing people that they also can overcome obstacles. And that's super important, Aaron, that we always reach out to others. It can't always be about us, right? It has to be about others too. So that's really powerful, and I'm glad that the podcast is going well for you. You're still doing that actively, right?
Yeah, no, I am. I am. I don't know if it will be a thing that I do 5 years from now or not.
Right.
We'll see. But for the time being, it's been a great networking tool, and until it's not a great networking tool, I'm going to
Right.
continue to do it. So
Right. I've got one more little question for you because it just popped into my head. I am awful at finance, like awful, and I have my full vision. So how do you manage that? Do you have like special tools or something that helps you with that, with the financial part?
yeah, so I mean, I can talk about I'll talk about kind of the tool stuff. I can't really dive into the finance stuff just
Yeah,
because
no,
of
no, of
compliance
course.
reasons. But
I wouldn't
yeah,
understand it anyway, Aaron. No
um,
worries.
on like my computer, I have just like software and stuff that allows me to zoom in or read things to me, so I can
Okay.
listen to stuff. And so that's really how I do all of my work on my computer. I can really zoom in and make it large, or I can listen to something if it's long, for anything.
Oh, wow, that's great. Okay, good. So you have a lot of like tools that you know how to use to make
Mhm.
yourself successful. That's really great. I
Yeah,
am going to subscribe as soon as we're done with our interview. I'm
thank you.
looking forward to listening. I really am. And I want you to, if you can, really quickly just share how my audience can find you, follow you, support you. Where can we find you?
Yeah, definitely. AaronGolub.com is my website. You can really find links to everything there. But my Instagram is at Aaron J Golub. You can find me
Okay.
on Twitter or LinkedIn. Really anywhere, just through my name. And happy to connect. Send me a message, and I'll definitely get back to you at some point. So
Great. And so the very last thing I'm going to ask, Aaron, if you don't mind, is giving my listeners and stuff just maybe just one tip if you can on how they can not get stuck, maybe just something that you can just say that'll motivate them to move forward. Do you have something?
yeah, and I think the biggest thing is take one day at a time and focus on what you
Oh,
can do
good.
that one day to move the needle, a little closer to your goal. When you think of the big picture, obviously you want to have amazing dreams and huge goals and really massive goals. That's how you accomplish them. But, for me, I have these incredibly massive goals. And, if you think of the big picture every single day, it can be overwhelming. And
Mm-hmm.
so yes, I think of those things and those goals, but on a day-to-day basis, I think of what are the tasks I can do to move the needle forward. You don't think of like where I'm going to be in 10 years from now. You think of what can you do right now to get a little bit closer to that.
Wow, that's so good. So in other words, just take it one step at a time
Yeah.
and
And
stop trying to take these big leaps, right?
yeah, and it's hard because everyone wants the instant gratification. I mean, even
Yeah,
even I do, of course I do, but that's not how the world works. That's not how things
right.
work. When you can learn to, delay satisfaction and understand that the hard work will pay off down the road, then you'll be successful. Because if you continue to struggle with that instant gratification, you'll never get it.
Thank you so much, Aaron, for sharing your wisdom. Honestly, I thank you for your time and just being here and sharing this space with me. I truly appreciate you. And I wanted you guys to listen to this because Aaron has been inspiring me and just reading his bio and just listening to some of his interviews. So I want to thank you so much for listening and watching Straight Talk, No Sugar Added. Make sure that you follow Aaron, and his podcast is called Blind Ambition. I mean, come on, that's a perfect name. So thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time.